Hi guys, welcome for your video. Thanks for the questions you ask and gonna answer them today.
You're never gonna make it, you're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different? Man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible, it's not probable, you're irresponsible. Too many obstacles, you gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow, you can't be a pro, don't waste your time no more. Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? I don't give a damn if you say you disapprove. I'm gonna make my move, I'm gonna make it soon. And I'll do it cause it's what I wanna fucking do. Cause all these opinions and all these positions, they come in millions, they blocking your vision. But no, you can't listen, that shit is all fiction. Cause you hold the power as long as you're dreaming.
Of course, I really love Japan. It was my second country, so I miss it very much. I started with karate at the age of 8, of course, many of you know it already. Then I went into the MMA, and from the MMA I went into kickboxing. And when I started kickboxing I was, I think, around 22 years, something like that. Use your distance and work hard. I always had the feeling I had to work harder than the other fighters because of when they get close. It's a disadvantage for me, so I always make sure get the distance and use it. Alright, the best striker in history. You have to ask the historians about that. My real height is 2 meters 6, and I think now this time I'm shrinking actually, I think. I started with karate, and I started kickboxing because I wanted to do professional fighting and I want to make a living out of this. I think my biggest advantage was my will to train, my will to fight, my endurance. I think that was my biggest advantage. I wish I liked basketball, but I didn't like it. Being tall also, of course, also have disadvantages. When I was younger, I was also tall. When it's tall people, they get the responsibility. When I was in the lower grades in school, of course, it was not always an advantage. I think the best MMA fighter on the planet is Fedor Emelianenko. I think he was the best. Thank you. Yeah, hey, hey, are you okay? At this moment I don't have the feeling to get back into the ring. No, I'm getting older. You have to be realistic at all times. I have my gym now. I have very nice goals. I set nice goals for myself, so I don't have the feeling to go in, no. Money fight. Picanha with a salad. Use Google Translate if you ask a question, please. I never competed in a savate. My thoughts on it, yeah, it was before my time, so I did not have the opportunity to be in it. I don't know. I think so. I was 39 when I fought my last fight, so I think in your 30s you're still a strong fighter. You can still be very strong. Of course, you have to train really wise. So I hope you have this experience already, and then you can fight until you're 40, I think. Maybe if I see him. In Africa. I've been one time in Africa. But I want to the safari. I want to see it for real, and I think this is very difficult in these times. But yeah, I was in Namibia, and yeah, I like it. Of course, Rico is a real champion. If there is no opponent for him, it is not his fault. It is the same with me. When I was champion, it is how to beat Schilt, and now it's how to beat Rico. So I think he's doing very good. He's a really good athlete. Of course, you can doubt about his fighting style, but I think he's very effective, and he should do it. I should do it like that anytime when I get the chance. So, for me, he's a champion. About the World War III, I think it's bullshit. We don't should do that. We had 2 world wars to learn from it, and we didn't. So, yeah, what can I do? I can only keep the peace for myself and my family. The hardest fight. It's difficult for me to get back this memory in really hardest fight. The fight I look up to was when I fought Feitosa in the final, first time in 2005. I just beat Feitosa in the preliminary rounds, and it was a very tough fight. And then he came by surprise, and I don't like surprises. And Peter Arts got out of the bracket, and then he came in as an outsider. He got into the fight final. That was a fight I was looking up to. And of course, when I fight Badr Hari in 2009, I felt really good, but I knew I had the loss in Amsterdam, and these were tough fights. But it was not like tough in the way that I get my ass kicked or something, but it was for mentally tough for me. I think if you're 70 kilo or if you're 50 kilo, it's possible to have a knockout punch. But then you have a really good timing and really good technique is your equipment for that. About the Badr Rico fight, of course I watched it here in the gym. It was really a nice ambience. I think Badr surprised Rico 2 times, maybe 3 times even. But it was a good fight. Rico needed time to adjust, and I can recognize myself in this also very much, because Badr is very explosive in the beginning and don't throw a lot of combinations. This time he tried to punch down and then go up to the head. I think it was a good strategy, but I think Rico should have won anyway in the end. I think this is the outcome, unless he get really knocked down, because I think the first knockdown he come back really strong, and then Badr should have finished it. But I think it was a good fight. Too bad it was the injury again. It's not gonna happen anytime soon, I think. I think. Yes, of course, I love kickboxing. Yes, we have the gym in Zuid-Laren, Stationsweg 1. If you are in the neighborhood, you're always welcome to walk in, and we can see what we can arrange at that time. My biggest rival? Actually, any fighter in the K1 was my rival, and after I won the first time in the K1 and then I won the second time, all the other fighters they grouped against me, or I had the feeling that they did that, So they were all my rival. But the biggest rival in times we fight, I think, is Peter Arts. But this time is over, so now we work together with some projects. But he was in the K1 time, he was the biggest rival. You have to get everything out of yourself, and maybe you don't have to spar with people who are better than you. You have to be better than yourself. So when I was training, I did not have all the best sparring partners, but I had the sparring partner who did what what me and my coach expected my opponents should gonna do. So I think you should train really for moments and not the overall fighting all the time, you know, because if you fight 100%, you cannot win 100%. But if you fight and you know, for example, for when this happening in the ring, the opponent reacts like that, there you can train. So I think you need a sparring partner who can imitate this action really good. And I think at this moment you will get better at the time if you see it happening in the sparring. The best job for a jab, to keep your distance, but my jabs also make knockouts. So I don't know what is the best job. I think if you use a jab only for distance, then you lost some opportunity to get a knockout. So make every punch hard and make sure you learn to retract on the right time, and then you can punch hard at any time. And then your jab is a hard job to get. It's 2005, the first. This is also difficult for me to answer, you know, which has the strongest punch. Of course I get hard punches sometimes, but I think Mark Hunt had the hardest punch, but he didn't catch me. My current weight now is like 130. I've answered this in my last video, so you have to check it again. Thank you. Of course, I can tell you more about this, kickboxing and personal development. I think for me, fighting is in my blood, is in my DNA, is everything for me. I was young when I started to do karate. It did not mean I was fighting in the streets all the time, but it was in the dojo. This is what I learned at really fast. And I think the things I learned in fighting, I now have a company, I now have my own gym. I work with people, and everything what I learned in fighting is coming back, only in different way. And I think in this way, if you can see that, and if you know how to respect people, to use your advantage, to use your disadvantage, and I think these are things you learn in fighting. Also, never give up, always keep on going. Sometimes it's a trap for you, but most of the times it will help you to reach your goal ultimately. And I think this is the personal development some of us can use really good. I think he's really coming back really strong. He's coming from a long way. When I first saw him it was in New Zealand. He was fighting Stefan Leko. I think he was a really talented guy, and I see he can find his talent again and work for it. And this is what I really like about him. Yeah, sometimes I get recognized, yes. Yeah, me too. Get in line. But maybe, I don't know what are your skills. Maybe if you have some good skills, you know, you can do an offer for me. Actually, I don't have really a favorite athlete or people I look up to in this way. Yeah, if I look up to someone, it was always my dad. It still is. So I look up to him, and this is my reference. When I was with Team van der Giezen, it was a nice. The Danes put me for. How do you say it? He threw me into the Lions then, because I thought he was there, but he wasn't there. He was in Thailand, and I took over his lesson. But I like the atmosphere there, so I like it very much. This is also a difficult question. You know, after you fight them, they're all nice guys. Most of them are nice guys, but who's the nicest? I cannot answer this question. Of course, sometimes in training I got my back injured, and most of the times it's the lower back. Lower back injury comes from kicking in my case. I think what I did was a lot of stretching the under back. Yeah, a lot of stretching for all, and also do some exercises, lower back exercises. Us. No, not really. Yes, of course I do meet and greets. For information about that, you can send the email to pr@semmyschilt.com. Who's the best kickboxer all time? I don't know. I think Ramon Dekkers is certainly in the top 3. Yeah. I got no personal relationship with Badr Hari. Only I met him a few times when I was fighting or on sports events. Watch a few of my fights, maybe, but how you can do that? No. When I went to Japan, first few times, and I fight in the Pancras, then I spoke to Bas Rutten, and he told me, you have to train like you fight. So if you want to have fast punches in fighting, you should do that any time that you have the opportunity to throw a punch. You make sure you make a punch like you should throw him in the fight. So this is my only advice what I can give you. You will fight how you train. So make sure when you train you make a fast punch. And if you want to make it faster, of course you can maybe do something with a periodisering or something like that to focus on that. But first of all, you have to do every punch you throw have to be as fast as you can, and then it will be getting faster. When I was going back to from the Pancras, I actually fight 2 times in the UFC. Then I went back to Pride. Of course, when I was younger, I would like to fight in the UFC. I think it's a nice platform. I don't know if the organization is a nice organization, but the platform is really nice. It is really good. So, yeah, maybe I should fight in this organization when I was younger. Yeah, sometimes we meet up with Peter Arts and Ernesto Host. These are the most fighters. This is the fighters I work with the most. Sometimes Remo Bojanski. So yeah, I see the Dutch fighters. I still see. I follow SD Gerges on Instagram. Of course, I also follow Rico Verhoeven and Badr Hari. So, but I don't meet these guys. But I'm sure when I meet them, it's no beef. Yes, my living now is running the gym and seminars. It can be karate, it can be kickboxing, it can be about mental coaching. So yes, of course, I do seminars. Yeah, I have advice. Listen to people who've been there, but take your own plan. So. You should listen and you should not listen. So it's a little bit a double advice, but this is a little bit the story of my life. And one time I want the rules, and another time I break the rules. So this is my advice: follow your own feeling, your own heart, and it will be okay. Yes, I've been in Istanbul a few times already. Yes. It was something that gets on my path, and I heard good things about it, so I started also sometimes when I'm going to sleep I use it, and I think it's why shouldn't I sell it? It's a good product. It's nothing illegal, so yeah, I put my name on it. Jump rope, and do boxing. I think this is then the best workout, and of course you should train your core. You should train your core, of course. course, shoulders, triceps, wrists, fingers, jaw, neck. It's best a pretty big workout if I ask me. Only don't forget your legs, because a lot of boxers, they got really big upstairs and they got little legs like sticks, so you know, do a complete workout, become a complete athlete. The most impressive was for me when I was backstage, when I fought in the Tokyo Dome with the big curtains, and then the big fireworks, and then the curtains falls. That was really big impressive for all these people who were sitting in the audience there. That was a big impression. Also, I really loved all these temples all around Tokyo. I always went there, you know, to ask them for good luck. So yes, thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you or hear you next time. Oos.
You just gonna take that, make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Are you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back?